not, I think me and Jay mentioned this, Jay Smith mentioned this many times, that the Quran that Muslims have, the most popular version of the Quran, and yes, I did say version, believe it or not, there are other versions. The most popular qira'at, basically, or qira'at that is used, is the Hafs qira'at, basically, or according to Hafs. And this is the 1924 Cairo edition, which, by the way, was not based on any written manuscript. It was supposedly based on an oral transmission from this particular, reader of the Quran. Oh, his name is Hafs, and that was back in the, technically speaking, at the end of the 8th century. And somehow his reading is the most popular one, and somehow our Muslim friends are convinced that it's been transmitted orally for all of these years. Think about it, for 1300 years. And the claim is that it represents the Uthmanic rasm, or the structure of the letters, and it's also a replica of what was revealed to the Prophet of Islam from heaven. Now that's the claim. Today we're going to show you some samples of errors, linguistic errors, grammatical errors, and so on and so forth. For instance, the name of Abraham, and people will see that right now, in one of the verses in the Quran, it is written as Abram.
Yeah, chapter 2, that's chapter 2 indeed. In the whole chapter, you can find the name Abram, basically Abraham.
Right.
So without an, let's say an E or a Ya.
Without a Ya, exactly.
Yeah, so the whole chapter contains, as you see above, without an E, let's say. But in the rest of the 113 chapters, the name is completely changed. So we should ask Allah, which is the correct way.
The idea, of course, our Muslim friends gonna come back and say, wait a minute, I mean, the Quran was revealed orally. No. It says it is written in preserved tablets in heaven. So which way it's written? Which way it was written? You tell me. The way with the Ya, or with the way without the Ya? And don't tell me Abraham and Ibrahim are one and the same. No, that's not the case, because I didn't grow up basically as a Muslim believing that his name was Abraham. It was the Bible that told me his name was Abram and became Abraham. That's what the Bible teaches, and there is a reason behind that change. But here, there is no logical reason why the name appears in two different ways.
oral tradition that goes all the way back. No, you don't. You only have an oral tradition that goes back to 1924, because what they're memorizing today is from 1924, the Hafs text. You're saying something that you haven't really thought through. You're making claims that you really haven't really put to the test. Stupid this all sounds? Do you see how it just gets larger and larger and larger the more we ask these kind of questions? When the Saudi Arabian government decided to make this text the text for the whole world, when they decided to make this text for all of us, everybody around the world, 1985, 35 years ago, why did they not choose something from the Hijaz, from their own country? Why did they not choose those who come from Nafi or Ibn Kathir or Abu Jafar? Why didn't they choose one of those three? Instead, they went to ʿAṣim from Kufa. To me, that doesn't make sense. So I'm assuming if Muhammad received it, this is the one that's in heaven, this is the eternal one, then why in the wisdom of Fuad, King Fuad, there in 1985, did he not do the same? That's all I'm asking. It's a simple question. I'm not being disingenuous, and I'm not trying to laugh at you all. I'm just trying to say, this doesn't make sense.
One of the world's leading experts, Alan Bunning.
Well, there's these different Greek texts that have differences in them. I said, they do? I didn't know that. Kind of went to the whole Greek class, and it's like a revelation. Like, I didn't know there was different ones. When I realized that, I said, well, this needs to become visible. What are the differences? And so I started with the modern critical texts to see how they would line up, because that's what they're using to translate the Bible from.
Mm-hmm. Let me make one statement to fast forward a bit, and then we'll go right back to the critical text. But your work now is recognized as authoritative in bringing these early manuscripts to not only researchers, but to believers around the world. And in fact, Tyndale has published a New Testament text based on your work.
What are these differences, and what difference does it make? You want to display all of the players in the game together.
Sure,
so you
right.
See how they relate. And they all had errors in them, and thousands of errors, and painstakingly by hand marked out who was right here, who was right there, and the reality was no one was right. Not a single one of the electronic copies we had was accurate. And I repeated this process with Textus Receptus, with the Nestle Allen text, with 6 different ones, and surprise, not a single one of them in Bible programs or on the internet, wherever you can get them, was accurate. So while we're blaming the ancient scribes for screwing up and making mistakes here and there,
right,
our modern scribes have screwed up as well, and we have computers to help us.
Right.
To me, that doesn't make sense. doesn't make sense.
According to you, is Arabic the most sophisticated language?
No, I mean, there's no way to measure sophistication of a language. Any language can express what it needs to express, and Arabic can express itself just like any other language. It's a normal language. So no, I don't think there's anything specifically special about Arabic. It's just a language, just like any other language.